Water security issues in Central Asia are a top priority for Kazakhstan's climate agenda, said Jennifer Morgan, the State Secretary and Special Envoy for International Climate Action at the German Federal Foreign Office. Following the COP28 agenda, Ms. Morgan made a working visit to Central Asian countries to coordinate climate goals for the next few years. At last year's UN Climate Change Conference, countries for the first time assessed the progress of the Paris Agreement to adjust the global green transition. To learn more about climate crisis solutions and the energy transit in Germany, please check out the interview of Jennifer Morgan. Ms. Morgan, thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you here. Let me start from this question. Following the agenda of COP28 in Dubai, what is an urgent call for climate change action in this region, in our country?
Well, we're seeing around the world and in this region that we really are in a climate crisis, that issues of water, lack of water, drought, temperature decreases in the winter, very hot summers, extreme events, they're costing billions of dollars, euros, etc. around the world. And I think for this region particularly, the issue of water and water security and water availability is front and center. And so the last COP really put a call to action, and we all decided together that we have to change course, that we need to transition away from fossil fuels into the renewable energy economy, and we need to be more resilient. So we need to build resilience into everything that we do.
How do you see the further cooperation, participation of Central Asian countries in this global climate change agenda?
Well, it's been excellent from Germany's perspective to be working with the countries from Central Asia. We have worked together on Green Central Asia, which is looking at the impacts of climate change on water systems here and how countries can be collaborating together on that. So that's part of it, is really creating that resilience here and that collaboration in the region. But also together on that future of renewable energy, green hydrogen, how the region can be a big part of the solutions over time, which is a challenge, but I think is one that Germany and the European Union is very interested in exploring.
Addressing the issues of water deficit and climate change, how can we find, what is the long-term solution, maybe with the help of international community? How do you think?
I think there's many different parts of that. I think part of that, of course, is looking at how one can be more efficiently using water so that your water usage goes down and efficiency measures there. Part of it is protecting nature. And my goodness, what nature there is in this region, and that the environment is really also a natural resource to be protected, also for water, so that you can be preserving that so that you have the adequate quantities moving forward. And the other is to be part of the global community that's really reducing the emissions, the pollution that causes the climate crisis as a whole, because that will then reduce the impacts on water systems here as well.
Speaking of energy transition, what is needed to be done on governmental level in this region, in our country in particular? Because, as you know, Kazakhstan is heavily dependent on the production of fossil fuel.
I think I can speak from the German experience. Also, we have a long experience of coal in our country, and we've been working to phase out coal by 2030 and replace it with renewable energy, with wind and with solar. We would dream to have the resources that Kazakhstan has in wind and solar to build out renewable energy. So part of it is working for a just transition with workers to have alternative jobs, because the jobs actually in renewable energy, they are massive and they're growing around the world. And I think the government, working with others, can put in place the policies that can move that forward step by step in a socially just way, work with global partners like Germany on things like green hydrogen, but building up that renewable energy capacity. There's lots of know-how all around the world that would, I'm sure, be keen to work with the government on how to make that shift away from fossil fuels, as we all agreed to at the last COP.
How can you evaluate the actions that Kazakhstan is taking to fight this global agenda, climate change agenda?
I see the ambition, I see the net zero goal, I see the putting in place the different policies. I think it's now time for all of us, including Kazakhstan, to be scaling that up. We all have to put our next plan on the table in the next year of how we're going to increase renewables, how we're going to transition in a just way away from fossil fuels for the international community. And so there, I think there's a great opportunity for the government to think, how can we be going in this direction for the future long-term prosperity of our country?
Ms. Morgan, it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Wonderful
Thank you
to
very
be
much.
here.
Thank you very much.